All right, Chief Bavino, we heard from Tom Homan, who said that DHS is now launching an investigation into Ilhan Omar and whether or not she's in the country illegally. Can we count on you to make the arrest if we find out that Ilhan Omar is, in fact, illegally in the United States?
Nick, if she's here illegally, I'll definitely be putting some cuffs on her. I would absolutely love the honor of doing that.
Awesome. I just want to be there for it. That's all I ask. So.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, sir.
All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this because Elon Musk just dropped a bomb on Ilhan Omar. And like I said, Elon Musk and President Trump is back talking, and you can see that President Trump pretty much shouted out Elon Musk the other day, so they are back on good terms. Like I said, which is a good thing. I'm glad that right there, that was able to build a friendship back and stuff like that. But man, Elon Musk has not been holding back. He even alerted President Trump about this, about what he is saying about Ilhan Omar. So we definitely going to dive straight into that. And it seems like Tim Walz is in some trouble now. Now he has a challenger to pretty much boot Tim Walz out and vote Mike Lindell, the guy that is running for governor of Minnesota, especially with all this fraud and stuff that's been going on. And I've told y'all plenty of times that it was over 400 employees in Minnesota that pretty much alerted Tim Walz to let him know that Somalis was stealing taxpayer dollars, and he told them to shut up and keep quiet so he can enrich himself and he can enrich Ilhan Omar. All of them was in it together. So now it's just a lot of stuff coming out right now. So please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support, and shout out to the one that always watches the entire video, and always the ones that let me know in the comment section, say, hey, Adogg, I stayed to the end. I watched the entire video. I appreciate all of you that do that, because it definitely helps get President Trump's message out there. And he said plenty of time that he's going to throw Ilhan Omar the blank up out of our country. So, without further ado, let's dive straight into this. Now, if you see right here, it's a break-in. Mike Lindell runs for governor of Minnesota, challenging Tim Walz, with his top campaign issues being stop the fraud and deporting illegals. Tim Walz needs to be kicked out of office. Somali fraud has gotten out of hand. He has to go. So this is Mike Lindell, the guy that is running against Tim Walz and stuff like that. And we've been finding out that Tim Walz been still getting reelected. You know why? Because the Somalis that he have in Minnesota is the one that's voting for him every year, that's been keeping Tim Walz in office and keeping him as governor, because he's allowing them to steal taxpayer dollars. So, and now that this fraud done blowed up, see, because if you look at it, Tim Walz probably would have won again. If this fraud stuff didn't come out, he'd have won again. But now we done find out the reason why he's been winning. Because if you letting all these Somalis steal billions, I mean up to $8 billion, President Trump them confirmed that Somalis has stole over a course of 3 to 4 years in Minnesota. And now we find out the reason why Tim Walz been still getting reelected because of that, because he's allowing them to steal, and they're going to vote to keep him in office because they know somebody else getting there as governor that can't no longer steal money. So now we just found that right there out. So if you see, check this out, say breaking. Elon Musk calls Somali Representative Ilhan Omar a traitor to America. Ilhan said of Elon, this is what Ilhan was pretty much saying about Elon Musk. Talking about he's one of the dumbest, luckiest people to exist on this earth. If y'all notice, all she do is talk about the American people. That's all she do. She done came out plenty of times saying she hate America. She don't like it. We are stupid. She said everybody that voted for President Trump is ignorant. This is what this woman says. She said all the time. She just pretty much wished death on President Trump, talking about, oh, he's going to be gone before me because I'm half his age. He ain't got that much time left. This is what she just said not 3 days ago. That's been coming out of this woman's mouth, and that's why you've been hearing President Trump call her garbage and everybody else around her. Because they all in on it. So if you see right here, it said, deport this Somali traitor. She committed fraud to get here by marrying her brother. Go back to Somalia. So it just, It's just crazy. Even by this guy, he said Elon Musk is absolutely correct. Democrats imported 80,000 Somalis to influence the elections in Minnesota. Had they not been ushered into this country, Ilhan Omar never wins. It's absolutely an invasion and is funded by your tax dollars and insisted by your politician. These people do not represent you. So it's like, come on, man. Like I said, it is getting out of hand. Like, this woman just don't stop, man. She just don't stop. Here she go again. Privileged billionaires who don't give a blank about America. And this is what President Trump says. She always trying to come over here and tell us how to run our country when she can't even run Somalia. President Trump said they got no military, no police officer. They got nothing. So she, instead of her trying to, pretty much run her country, she comes over here and try to pretty much tell the president of the United States how to run the country. It just don't make sense. This is what she's saying. Privileged billionaires who don't give a blank about America, and America should not be making decisions that put Americans at home. So did you not put the Americans at home when you and Tim Walsh and y'all allowed the Somalis to steal billions of dollars in Minnesota? Stealing money. They just go to show you how fake this woman is. A billionaire that hasn't been vetted, has not gone through confirmation, has not been elected. Look at her. Has not been vetted. But yet she married her brother to get here. And like I said, that's right there is what President Trump has been saying. So if you look at this right here, say Elon Musk is upset at Ilhan Omar and Zoran Mandani were voted in by a majority of people who was not born in America. So, and we've been hearing that him and President Trump been talking, and he even relayed even more news, to President Trump about a lot more stuff. Adding, we don't want to turn into a communist hellhole.
When people say like this is fake, I'm like, actually, well, let's look at, Ilhan Omar, who was voted into Congress by, a large group of people from Somalia who are in Minnesota, which is really far from Somalia. Or Mamdani, who was voted to be mayor, but by a majority of people who are not born in America. That's my understanding, at least.
And that's what he's saying. Like, people that voted for her is people that's not in America. Like, that's why she's in Minnesota, because that's where all the Somalis are at. All of them are there. Think about it. You got Jacob Frey, the mayor, who pretty much is going against President Trump and going against Tom Homan. Pretty much, they don't want ICE there. They got the chief of police in Minnesota that's telling people, if you see ICE, call the police and just say that they kidnapping you. Then you got, Tim Walsh, who pretty much allowed all of this money to be stole after his own employees told him. And he told them to shut up and keep quiet. Don't say anything. And then you got Ilhan Omar. Think about it, all of them don't like Donald Trump. And then they allow Somalis in Minnesota to be stealing all this money, sending it overseas, sending it to, Somalia, sending it to Al-Shabaab. That right there is exactly what's been going on. And that's the reason why somebody like a Ilhan Omar and Tim Walsh, the mayor, all of them, they will continue to keep getting voted back in because all the Somalis are there. Because all of them together are allowing the Somalis to steal. And Ilhan Omar then enriched herself. Now she's worth over $30 million. But if you remember, when she first got into Congress, she was a negative $65,000. That's what she was worth. And now over the course of 3 to 4 years, now she's worth $30 million. That's what he's talking about. That's who keep voting her, Tim Walsh, and that mayor back in. Because like I said, they all got something in common. They all Democrats. They all hate Donald Trump. And that's exactly what Elon Musk is talking about.
And then California is a big time situation. So I don't know. We just don't want to turn into a communist hellhole, basically.
A Congress hellhole, basically. So like I said, salute to Elon Musk. And there's just another thing that's been popping up on everybody's feed. And say Elon Musk has just said that this video, a Democrat representative, Ilhan Omar, stating that her goal is to work for Somalia. This is what I've been telling you about it. This is what she said. Her goal was to work for Somalia, which means she come to the United States, steal our money, and send it back over there to Somalia and enrich herself. And not only that, she helped her husband and stuff, but we'll get into that in just a second. Said that the video Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar stating that her goal is to work for Somalia within the U.S. government. Sounds like treason.
jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay wadankan annaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan marka taas ka seexda jawaabteedu waxay ahayd
wow. And this is what she was saying, pretty much using the United States to pretty much saying that she's just working for Somalia. And that's why I said before, this woman has to go. And like I said, this is just a video that I just showed y'all. But, you know, Elon Musk just been saying, like I said, he even got more shocking news about Ilhan Omar that he did relate to President Trump. And it just not looking good. So, and like I said, right here say, Elon Musk recently said that Ilhan Omar, who is literally voted into power by a large group of people from Somalia and Minnesota, here's how Ilhan Omar got into Congress. Ilhan Omar was elected by a Barack Obama CIA operation importing illegal Somalians into Minnesota. The CIA imports illegals from specific countries, concentrating them into one state. Those illegals then vote to elect a congressperson who represents their home country. They then advocate for policies for their home county the CIA wants. Mike Benz explained this process is how Somalian Ilhan Omar got elected into U.S. Congress. It was a CIA operation.
The other option we have is to just do mass immigration of these exile communities of immigrants and refugees. And over time, if we give unlimited support to these exile groups, they will form enough of a lobby on themselves to affect the internal politics of Congress, with importing tens of thousands of Somalians into Minneapolis, Minnesota. Lo and behold, that produces a congresswoman like Ilhan Omar, who then goes and advocates on behalf of the Obama foreign policy for Somalia and Eritrea and Kenya and the whole region. Seeing that in writing from the Cloak and Dagger Central Intelligence Agency 60 years ago, and that we're dealing with the same issue right now as we take on the immigration issue, really is a sort of back to the future moment.
So it's just getting bad. And this is just not President Trump, what a couple of days ago, pretty much saying that Ilhan Omar is an illegal alien. Not only that, the crowd began saying, chanting, send her back.
Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand. That's from Minnesota, you know. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history.
Yep.
I love this Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban. I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining.
That's it. That's all she do, though. He right.
She comes from a country where, I mean, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military. They have no nothing. They have no parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing. They have no police. They police themselves. They kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get in, right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that?
See that?
She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out, throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
That's all she do. He right, just complain. That's it. Send her back. Send her back.
So now,
And you hear what President Trump saying? Like, this is like, he's been saying this a lot now. He's been saying this a lot now. So you can check this out. The Ilhan Omar fraud circle is now being scrutinized by investigators after a restaurant owner who previously hosted her events was confirmed to have stole $12 million.
Investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
This scandal is going to rock the core of Minnesota politics and American politics. We are going to be able to show through whether it be willful blindness, whether it be deliberately turning the other way, or whether it be direct knowledge, we are going to show how Democrat politicians, Democrat bureaucracies, Democrat political systems, and the Somali refugee population ripped off the American people, stole countless taxpayer dollars, and engaged in scams that boggle the mind, scams that we can scarcely even conceive of or imagine in their brazenness. This truly underscores the extent to which the Democrat Party has used migration as a weapon against the American people to gain political power at the expense of American citizens, stealing their money, stealing their votes, stealing their sovereignty. This is going to be case in point for the argument that President Trump has made about why we must stop mass third-world migration into this country. It is a tool the Democrat Party has used to rob the American people.
And Stephen Miller is right. Now, not only that, you know, Tom Homan even pretty much came out and said that Ilhan Omar is under investigation, especially after marrying her brother.
Reporter Czar Tom Homan joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at it. But this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down.
So, like I said before, that right there is exactly what Tom Homan had to say. And like I said, I want to check this video out right here by this young lady right here. She's pretty much talking about, Ilhan Omar marrying her brother.
Okay, so Ilhan Omar actually did marry her brother, and there's some pretty good gossip around it. So for the first time, we have had someone who knows the family come out and speak about this and confirm what everyone knows to be the truth. She married her brother to get him immigration papers. So she married her first husband in a mosque. It was like a conjoining of two large Muslim Minneapolis clans. It was very well celebrated, and there were about 100 to 150 people at the wedding. They did not marry legally through the courts. So she claims that her and her first husband were separated in 2008, and she married her husband or her brother in
Ilhan Omar be lying, man. She be lying.
He ended up in Minneapolis because he was very feminine, and that wasn't okay with her family in England. So they sent him to Minneapolis for like rehab to stop being so feminine. And people in the Somali community in Minneapolis started noticing that Ilhan and her first husband started hanging out with this like feminine young guy. And there were all these whispers, gossip about him. And apparently she told people that she needed to get papers for her brother for him to start at North Dakota State University. And they were married in a Christian church because none of the mosques would do it because everyone knew that they were siblings. So everyone like refused to marry siblings. But they claimed that their paperwork got devastated in war in Somalia because it's like a shithole. And there's no way to prove the documentation that they are actually siblings. I mean, of course we could prove it. It's a simple DNA test. Anyway, when she married her brother, no one knew about it. They only found out when the papers reported on it years later. So they married in 2009, and then she divorced her brother in 2017 and then remarried her first husband. AKA, they never parted. She also had a child from her first husband while she was still legally married to her brother. Because, again, they were never separated. Yep. So this might be the first of many voices in the Somali community that come out and speak about her fraudulent marriage. If so, and she's found guilty of this, bye. We won't miss you.
You sure won't. So salute to her. So y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this. Thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. Like I said, I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.